So it's been 2 months since I last uploaded any Beyblade related content, and I felt bad because y'all have been asking for more OG Beyblade top 10 rankings and character analysis videos, which got me thinking because I didn't want to do the lazy thing and just drop another Ryuga video. So I decided to spend last week watching the first 13 episodes of the newest generation of Beyblade, Beyblade X. Now the Beyblade X anime is extremely different from what most fans are used to, and when I say that, just know that I'm referring to the Metal Fight Saga. The world is a lot more grounded, kids are not walking around with spinning tops that should be classified as literal nukes, bladers aren't whipping out domain expansions on the fly. Beyblade X takes the approach of Beyblade as a sport, and this is a realistic story of what an athlete's life is like in this sport, which to some might be a turnoff because why would I want to watch a Beyblade series that's hyper realistic? I might as well just play Beyblade myself. But I think a Beyblade series that focuses more on the game instead of trying to be Dragon Ball Z could be interesting, which is what I thought until I got halfway through my watch. Now if you couldn't already tell by the title, I do not think that this anime is good, and a lot of it stems from the fact that the protagonist is garbage. If you watched my Kaiju number 8 video, you know how important this is for a series. But before I get into that and discuss how the world of this series contradicts the type of story it's trying to tell, I need to talk about arguably the biggest reason why this series isn't cooking. Beyblade X is the most unique generation in all of Beyblade history because like the Zero G era, the bays are built to interact with the stadium to create insane battles. Bays are split into 3 parts: the blade, ratchet, and bit, with the bit including gears around it that when coming in contact with the stadium's extreme line allows for bays to speed up to an insane degree, resulting in the extreme dash ability being performed. Basically, battles are hectic, and looking at clips online of X battles, it's really cool to witness just how unpredictable battles are, which leads into a major problem I have with this anime. The fights do not replicate the insanity of IRL battles. While it is nice to see that the series incorporates things like the importance of launch angle, angle of rotation, blade recoil, I was bored watching these fights by episode 6. There's only so many times I can watch a bay go into the middle of the stadium and then Common X whips out an extreme dash and the battle is over in 3 minutes. That might be cool to witness IRL, but it does not translate well in the anime. Like, the extreme dash has no aura to it, no sauce, it's no Pegasus Star Blast attack. The only time I was moved by Common X's extreme dash was episode 1. After that I was like, this does not impress me anymore. And it doesn't help that this move feels slow as hell too. Like the speed Damien's Bay moves when activating Hades' drive, that is the speed I want from an extreme dash. That is cool. Overall, my point is that the fights are not visually entertaining to look at. Watching IRL Bay battles is more interesting than the anime, and it should not be like that. Now, while the fight choreography in this series has been massively disappointing for the reasons I listed earlier, I was still eager to give this series a chance because with the more grounded approach, that means that there would be more time for slice of life moments with the characters, and Beyblade has always been a series that's excelled in that aspect. So with the introduction of the protagonist of Beyblade X, Kazumi Bird, I was hyped to experience this journey of a hero who starts out insanely weak but through hard work becomes a top tier in the verse. Bird is an amateur blader who wants to go pro and climb to the highest floor of the X Tower, which in this universe is basically the Beyblade Sports League. Bird is quickly humbled by the harsh reality that he is weak, but through meeting Common X, Bird realized that by teaming up with this guy, the path might lead to Bird becoming stronger. And at first there is nothing wrong with this. Bird is constantly losing battles, but the kid is trying to improve. But very quickly I began to realize that this series was not going to let this character make achievements, because this guy just continues to lose and get negatived constantly, to where I immediately tune out in whatever battle he's involved in because all of his losses are predictable with how they play out. But by episode 13 is when I really began to lose it. The episode starts with a time skip showcasing that Team Persona has reached the 20th floor of the X Tower and Bird still has not won a single match. During this sequence, I am witnessing Bird lose to an NPC. What are we doing? NPCs. The pro bladers in this series cannot be that busted. It has gone to the point where this is not even believable anymore. You can't have Bird do well against Cadover, who is basically an elite pro blader whose test you must pass to earn the right to advance to the next floor, train daily with a top tier blader like Common X, and then turn around and expect me to believe that Bird can't beat literal fucking fodder. And if this wasn't already annoying to witness, the series goes out of its way to test my patience even further. We are introduced to Hina, a little girl who is Bird's first ever fan. She was inspired by his perseverance even though he is a pro blader who constantly loses. And then later on in the episode, the two of them are jumped by some Beyblade street goons who challenge Bird to a Bay street battle where anything goes, meaning underhanded tactics like spilling grease on the stadium is allowed. There's heavy stakes in this match because a pro blader isn't allowed to street battle, meaning this altercation could result in Bird losing his pro license. Plus these goons are recording the match, meaning if Bird loses, that could negatively impact the team's online presence, and that could potentially result in Team Persona persona losing their sponsor, which is an important plot point in Beyblade X because again this series is written like a sports anime. So this battle is quite literally the perfect moment to give Bird his first ever win. The writers are clearly obsessed with having Bird constantly lose to pro bladers, so you would think by him beating some street goons wouldn't be a problem. Nope, not allowed in Beyblade X. Instead, right as Bird begins to stand 10 toes on his ideals, Common X appears and takes over the match. This moment made me almost stop watching the episode. I have not witnessed a more cucked protagonist since Deku from My Hero Academia. This is what people think Gege does with Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen. Bird is just not allowed to do anything, and it's annoying. I do not care about Common X geeking out over Bey battles when it comes at the cost of Bird's development. And I know I'm probably going to get comments telling me, Local, it's not this series' fault. You're placing your own expectations on Bird and are setting yourself up for disappointment. Trust me, I fully believe that there are occasions where fans put unreasonable expectations on a series, and at the end of the day, discussions like these are subjective. But at the same time, how is Bird constantly losing and his development being artificially lengthened any different than Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship and Rent-A-Girlfriend? Like genuinely, what is the difference? The series dangles a possibility in front of your face for an unreasonable amount of time, and just when you're about to witness a payoff, the author decides to pull back. An abusive cycle to get you to keep coming back every week through the effect of selling you a fake dream. Again, someone in the comments, please tell me what the difference is because I'm not seeing it. Plus, you can't even use the, well, just be patient and keep waiting response because I peeked ahead to see if I was overreacting and Beyblade X is currently 32 episodes deep with no Bird victory in sight. The writers are so allergic to giving Bird a win that they are coming up with Looney Tunes levels of logic to justify his defeats. I'm simply confused on why this is a direction the series decided to take with this character. Because it's pretty obvious that Bird is supposed to be the representation of an average person. Not everyone is going to be a badass and always win right out the gate. That's fine. But when you go the opposite extreme and just have someone who just constantly loses all the time with no progression, it just leads to an endless loop of disappointment. The audience just ends up tuning out because there's zero progress. How am I supposed to be invested in Bird's journey when a dude can literally do everything right, not have a single misplay, and still lose because Multi and Common X need to be glazed for the 500th time? How am I supposed to be inspired by this? I mean this in the nicest way possible. Everything surrounding Bird is garbage. The writers don't respect him, the characters in the series treat him like a gad character, and by this moment, I don't respect the character. At this point, I refuse to continue watching this series until the episode where Bird wins is released, because aside from the plotline between Chrome and Common X, there's nothing else really going on to keep me invested, because at the pace this series is going, I fully expect Bird to not have a single win 50 episodes deep into the series. By that point, I won't even care when he wins. So when you take in the fact the protagonist doesn't interest me, the fights don't impress me, and the soundtrack is lackluster, the only conclusion I can come to is that Beyblade X is not cooking. If you stuck around till the end of the video, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And if you want to talk to me about anime related topics, join my Discord server. Also consider becoming a channel member, another way to support me and I support you back with shoutouts at the end of the video, early access to new videos, custom emotes, and members only videos depending on which level of membership you decide to choose. And if you're someone that enjoys anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when I hit 10k, you can brag about being a day one. I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.